welcome to a productive but slightly frustrating writing vlog. So, for a bit of background, I started writing my current project back in November for the start of NaNoWriMo, and so far I have just over 80,000 words. I finished my first draft, and I've started editing it in the new year. And it's been many ups and downs, and recently I've been feeling a bit stuck with it, and I feel like something needs to change, but I'm not sure what. So I decided to reread one of my favorite books, The Courage to be Disliked. Let's see, this is it here. And it's really great, and it basically explains the core ideas of Adlerian psychology, but it does this in a dialogue between a philosopher and a young man. So they go back and forth, and he explains many of these ideas that seem very intangible at first, but apply them directly to the life of the youth. And this is a book I highly recommend, even if you're just curious, you don't quite believe in the principles. I find it so fascinating, and it's such an interesting way to explain a lot of these ideas. So, this is something that's inspired me a lot in my own project because now that I'm going through it in editing, I feel like a lot of my writing is feeling very flat, and I don't know why, and it's been really frustrating. So, I've been thinking of making a big change, which would basically mean rewriting all 80,000 words I've written so far. And I'm a bit on the fence about this because, on the one hand, I don't want to write a whole book and finish it and then not like it. So there's no point in just sticking to the schedule I have in my head and pushing through if it's not going to turn out the way I want it to. But on the other hand, I know that if I go back and make all of these changes in the hopes that it will work a bit better, that's going to be at least a few extra months added on. And I don't even know if this is the best way to go about it. So I'm a bit unsure if I really want to try this out, if it means so much extra work. But I also think maybe this is just part of the process. You don't know what's going to work, what you like and what you don't like until you do it. So I'm realizing that with writing, it's very much a non-linear path, and this is something I'm struggling with a bit because in my head, I very much had these are, for example, the 10 steps I need to do to write this book, and I will hopefully be finished with it by the end of this year. And I realized maybe that was a bit optimistic. Like I said, I'm completely new to this. I have no experience with such a big writing project. So I am having doubts, when will I even be able to finish this? But I'm trying not to think about that and instead focusing on consistency. This is what helped me during Nano, so hopefully this is what will get me through a lot of these struggles now. Instead of having a specific end date in mind, I am going to try to just work on this every single day. I have other main focuses at the moment, so I'm going to dedicate just an hour every morning to writing. And if I feel like it, I'll do more. Like today, I have most of the day to spend on writing, which is great because I'm going to need to plan this out a bit. But I find that when I was still working on my first draft, I did really well having a daily word count goal. I had set for myself to write 2,000 words every day, and I did that. I wrote more most days because I just got in the flow. And before the month, I had already planned out what I'm going to write in each of those days. And of course, I made adjustments as I went, but it was pretty easy to have a daily goal and focus on that. And then I'd do that and I'd feel great about it. But with editing, I'm not sure what kind of goals to set or how to track my progress. And I find it really frustrating because I can spend a whole hour on one paragraph just thinking about it and rewriting it and changing it around slightly. And then I look at it and I hardly see any progress or any difference. So I don't know. This is all new to me. What do you do? How do you track your progress or set goals when editing? If you're a writer, please let me know how you go about this. I'd really appreciate any kind of tips or advice you might have. And I'd be really curious to know what your process looks like. So thank you. Please let me know in the comments. But since I've been sitting here all morning, I am going to head out for a change of scenery and plan out some of the changes that I'm going to have to make there. So I just had a coffee and a pretzel at the bakery, and I did some writing, and now I'm just going for a longer walk because I realized that I've not nearly been going out into nature as much as I should be. So I'm outside, and I'm hoping this will help me feel more grounded. It's funny because in the book I'm reading, it talks about how much of loneliness and isolation comes from being disconnected with life, with nature, community, and this is something I'm definitely feeling. Um, I don't know. Is anyone else feeling just extra lonely lately? Even though the world is normal and open again, I find that even when I go to places that are familiar to me, I can't help but feel like a bit of an outsider in my life. And this is probably anxiety. And Adla in the book talks about how anxiety comes from too much of a focus on the I. And funny enough, both feelings of inferiority and superiority are self centered. So, to get a healthy sense of self, to be more balanced, you actually need to be focusing on others, more particularly how to be of use to others. I find this is also a really good thought for writing because I have so many little worries like that and often doubt myself, thinking, what if I'm just not good enough? What if my writing sucks? What if people make fun of me? But at the end of the day, if one person reads my book one day and finds anything helpful in there that improves their life for the better, then that's enough. That's a success, you know? So that person who finds it helpful isn't going to be thinking all those things. They're not going to be thinking about me. They're going to be thinking of themselves. So all I can do is try to write the best book I can for others and try to forget myself in the process. And I find this way of thinking is really helpful for any kind of anxious thoughts, whether it's writing, going out, socializing, anything really, trying to change the focus from on yourself to being on others. And it can really help with a lot of those low worries. So that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm going to go home and do some more writing. So, I just had some dinner. It's 8 o'clock now, and I'm going to call it a day. Today has been pretty good, though. I definitely noticed that it's good for me to go out and be outside. And surprisingly, I feel like I had my best focus time, and I did the most writing when I was out at the bakery, and a lot more so than when I was doing it from home. So, I'll definitely make a point to do that more. I know with this that it's a journey, not a sprint, so I'm trying to take things slow and steady and just be consistent with it. YouTube definitely helps me with accountability, and I really appreciate all the nice feedback and tips you guys have been giving me, so thank you. Also, I found that when I was doing Nano, I had a writing group on Discord where we could help each other out, share resources. We had little group calls, and it was really fun and helpful for me. So, I was wondering, I know from the comments that a few of you guys also have writing projects you're working on. If you'd like to do some kind of group like that together where we can share our goals and tips and give each other feedback or just help out in all these kind of ways, then let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to set something like that up. But I hope you like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.